Get fitter and stronger. 5 simple steps. So if you're just driving or working out, consider just listening and taking it in. I'm going to share with you the key points on how to get fitter and stronger. I'm going to break it down in 5 simple steps. So good to see you, Jay, from Norway, my vegan brother. Nice. Did you work out today? I did. What did you do? Let's see. I did. I did mainly shoulders and arms this morning. Yeah, 2 more training. Okay, 2 more training days. See you next meso. I think I'm gonna recreate another 4-week meso as well. So nice. Good. Oh, and then I also looked up the hierarchy of evidence, and that's really fascinating. It's really hard to get to the highest level. I got it pulled up on my other computer here, and chest, back, delts, and bis. Oh, sweet. And then I looked up that Swiss bar too. I've seen that before. We don't have one. We have a different kind of bar, but it's kind of a similar, but not like the Swiss bar. But the whole hierarchy of evidence was really fascinating too. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. Very interesting. So get fitter and stronger. 5 simple steps. The first thing I feel is really important is to have a clear, specific goal. And both Jay and I really have clear, specific goals. We know exactly what we want our health and fitness to be. For example, and I'll use myself, I'm currently about 182 pounds at 10% body fat. My goal is to be at least 190 pounds and at or below 10% body fat. That's my specific goal. So I hope that makes sense, that how important it is to have a very clear, very specific goal. Actually, something called umbrella review that's like a meta-analysis of the meta-analysis. Sweet. Meta-analysis is the top. Yeah, the meta-analysis. But you're saying there's a meta-analysis of the meta-analysis? Wow, that's pretty crazy. That would be something. Yeah, and with AI, I'm sure it's going to just get crazy. So to get fitter and stronger, have a clear, specific goal. For example, I really like to break it down into a body weight and a body fat percent. So everybody, whether you use pounds or kilos or stones, whatever you use, consider having a specific body weight and a specific body fat percent. All right. It's very helpful to have that very specific goal, right? So you know exactly where it is you're headed. How do you find out about body fat percents? You can either get measured yourself. If you have I feel fortunate. I have a doctor that has a test, and I stand on the machine, and it scans everything. And I basically get a 4-page report from body fat to hydration to skin analysis to all kind of stuff. It's really neat. But a simple hack that you can do to learn about what body fat percentages look like, go online, go to Google and do a online search for men's and women's body fat percentages. And a lot of times you'll find a range. It'll range from like low percent to the highest body fat percent. And you can see the different pictures. And then you can basically compare yourself with one of the pictures where you are now. And then you can set a goal to be lower, and it'll show maybe you like the 12% range. Maybe you want to hang out there or whatever. But you can look at the scale and visually kind of decide based on where you're at what your goal should be. That's just a simple little hack, right? Nice. Thanks for being here, Jay. Then, so once you have your goal, let's frame it into an affirmation / prayer, right? So I'm going to set it up like this. I am happy and grateful now that I am, then you state your body weight and your body fat percent. I am happy and grateful now that I am, you state your body weight and then your body fat percent, right? So I do this every day when I drive to the studio. I say my affirmation prayer out loud and with purpose. And I say, I am happy and grateful now that I am at least 190 pounds and at or below 10% body fat. And boom, I just internalize it. And I feel in that moment that I am that weight, because but see, in reality, and I hope this makes sense to if you're trying to wrap your head around the goal setting, is that the part of this visualization exercise is that I'm putting myself in the state that I'm happy and grateful right now for this goal that I'm working on. But I'm trying to feel it right now and that's in the future. I'm trying to feel what it is. So I'm currently 182 pounds, but my goal is that I want to be at least 190 pounds. But I'm saying I am happy and grateful right now that I am at least 190 pounds and at or below 10% body fat. And you internalize that. And then, of course, we have to back it up with massive action, right? And what's the action? Training. Here's the 5 simple steps if you're taking notes. Training, nutrition, recovery, supplementation, and mindset. Those are the 5 simple steps. You know, I once had a mentor. I don't know if you've ever heard of Jim Rohn. You can look him up on YouTube. Jim, and then Rohn is Rohn, as in Nancy. And he has a lot of good material. He's passed away now. But he used to say that in any major area of life, there are really only about a half a dozen things that if followed correctly, if followed, you'll be successful. And with fitness, there are really only 5 key things that if you follow the fundamentals within these areas, you'll be successful. And this training, nutrition, recovery, supplementation, and mindset. Now let's break them down a little bit, because then there's points within points. But those are the 5 major points: training, nutrition, recovery, supplementation, mindset. Let's look at training. Training is very important. That's why I put it number 1, right? Is training, because we have to stimulate progress, right? We have to get something done. So when it comes to your training program, consider having a blend of both strength training and cardiovascular training. You know, I grew up, I used to just love doing weights, but I didn't love doing cardio. And it showed, because my body fat at sometimes in my career was too heavy. And then I finally figured out it has to be both. You know, I even had a professional tell me one time as I was coming up, as I was a teenager, he said, you know, the number 1 mistake the most amateur bodybuilders make is they don't do enough cardio. So, and in everything, if you just fully understand, it's cardio and strength training are very powerful together. It's sort of like, say, imagine for a moment that we have a twin engine airplane. So we're flying along on the airplane, and one engine is cardiovascular and one engine is strength. So if we have both engines going on the airplane, imagine how efficient that's going to be. Very efficient, right? If you have just one engine working on the airplane, it's not going to be very efficient. I wouldn't want to be on that airplane. So consider with your routine, as you're building it out, consider having both strength and cardiovascular into your routine. Have that nice, full, complete, balanced training routine. Now, how do we build out a proper training routine? Well, I feel there are basically 5 principles that makes up a really good training routine. Number 1 is proper form. Now, why would proper form be important? Think about it. It's kind of obvious, right? Well, 1 is so that we don't get hurt. And that's a big one, because when you get an injury, it really stinks because it sets you back. I mean, it's an awful obstacle that we can avoid by doing proper form. So to avoid injuries, and then also so that we're working the muscles most effectively. We're being efficient with our time, with your time, right? We always talk about how busy we are, right? But when you're doing proper form, you're actually being more efficient. So instead of just racing through the workout, you're really mastering the form. And you know, over my career, I love studying and mastering proper form on the exercises. Just it's very important. It's the number one principle in my list, proper form, so that we don't get hurt and so that we exercise the muscle effectively. Number two is variety. Now, why would we need to mix it up occasionally? Why change it every now and then? Why not just do the same routine over and over? Well, you might mentally get bored, right? But then also, too, our bodies can get bored. Have you ever heard of a plateau? Right? A plateau is where you get to a certain level and then you get stuck and you can't move to the next level. I see this a lot of times where people, they start working out and then maybe they've been going for 6 months, 12 months, maybe a year and a half, and they kind of reach a plateau. And it's real common because we all kind of get caught up in doing the same exercises over and over again, the same rep ranges over and over again, the same speed of the movement over and over again, working the same body parts together over and over again. But how can we change it? We'll reverse all that. Consider mixing it up. Change your routine around periodically. Just like Jay was saying earlier, he breaks his up into different mesocycles. So you have different things to work on, and you take a 12-week program and you break it up into halves or thirds, and you break it up like that. But there's different ways. That's breaking it up, doing different things so your body can really keep making continual progress. So that's variety. So you can change up the workouts together. The muscles work together. You can change the rep ranges. You can do low reps or high reps. You can change the speed of the movement, sometimes slow, sometimes faster. Right? There's all kind of ways to add variety. So number 3 is intensity. What comes to mind when you think about exercising with intensity? What comes to mind? Challenging yourself, right? Pushing yourself, right? Imagine for a moment that we're doing chest presses. We're going for 12 repetitions. 9, 10, 11, barely get number 12. Ugh, we got number 12. What's the most beneficial part of that set? The first few reps or the last few reps? And why? Think about it. Would be the last few reps. That's where the challenge is. That's where the overload occurs. That's where the muscle breakdown occurs. And that's what's going to stimulate muscle growth. That intensity, challenging yourself, pushing it. It's going to cause your muscles to bounce back and grow back more muscle. It's sort of like a defensive mechanism. Like, for example, when you go out in the sun and your body gets a sun tan, it's kind of a defensive mechanism, right? Working out, when you work out, we're basically breaking our muscles down. It's through the rest and recovery that they grow back bigger and stronger and better. So we talked about proper form, variety, intensity, proper training principles is next. There's a lot of different training principles. We talked about one already, mesocycle. There's compound sets, supersets, drop sets, circuit training, rest pause training. There's all sorts of training principles. I encourage you to go online and Google or ChatGPT search, look up training principles and sprinkle them into your workouts. You know, soon enough, they're telling me we're going to have an app you can download on the iPhone or Android. It's not available yet. It's free download. It's going to be called Workouts for All with the number 4 and then all. And it's going to have a lot of workouts in it that you can download and try. And you'll see that you can sprinkle different training principles into the workouts. And that's always nice. So we talked about proper form, variety, intensity, proper training principles. And then last but not least is the principle of consistency. So when it comes to a training program, what is the benefit of the principle of consistency? Think about it. Well, it's kind of obvious, right? But imagine for a moment. Imagine that you have you, and say you have a twin of you, and imagine that you're going both for the same fitness goals. We're gonna meet back here in 1 year. You start off good. You work out 4 days a week, combination of strength and cardio. You eat healthy. You get your rest. The twin starts off that way, but then misses a workout here and there, skips a quality meal here and there, doesn't always get the full night's sleep here and there. At the end of the year, who's going to have the best results? The consistent person. Exactly. So the power of consistency. Once you decide on a fitness plan, you decide on a workout plan, you got it all together, your workout plan, nutrition, recovery, implement it. Be consistent no matter what. Don't let anything take you away from it. Power through that consistency and see what happens. I challenge you for that. So that's consistency. Now, we talked about training, nutrition, recovery, supplementation, and mindset. We looked at training, having a combination of strength training and cardiovascular. We talked about the 5 principles of training: proper form, variety, intensity, proper training principles, and consistency. Now let's look at nutrition. Imagine for a moment that we want to build a beautiful 2-story house from scratch. It's our dream house. And imagine that we only have half the materials necessary to build the house. How far are we going to get? About halfway, right? So the foods that you and I eat on a daily basis, the foods that we all eat, are the supplies that goes towards building our bodies, just like the supplies necessary to build the house. So think about it. So what I recommend a whole food, plant-based diet, around 50% fruits and vegetables, 25% whole grains, and 25% plant-based proteins like legumes, lentils, nuts, and seeds. Now, when it comes to the way food affects our bodies, I feel like there are basically 4 major ways. It affects our metabolism, our energy levels, our insulin levels, and our blood sugar levels. Now, imagine for a moment that we have a fireplace, and we want to have a fire going in the fireplace. And on one hand, we have a stack of oak wood, and on the other hand, we have a stack of paper. Now, not including kindling and getting the fire started, but if we had to choose between the oak wood or the paper to burn in our fireplace, which one would we pick? Which one would you pick and why? Well, most of us would choose the oak wood. And why? Because it's going to burn slower, longer, more efficiently. The paper is going to burn fast, very inefficiently. So what are the foods that burn more like oak wood? That'd be more like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, good proteins like legumes, lentils, nuts, and seeds. And that's going to give you that slow burn, That's what I want for you, is to have that slow burn. If you want to dig into this a little deeper, consider watching the documentary, The Game Changers. The Game Changers. It's on Netflix and YouTube. And it goes into the science of what this is all about and why it works so well. And it was produced by former MMA champion who did this documentary on an injury break that he had. But it's on YouTube and Netflix. I encourage you to watch it and learn and study this. Get fascinated with it. Dig into it. Find out why so many people are doing this and having great results. Slow. Oh, here we go. The slow burn, baby. Oh, yeah, there we go. Will there be a number 2, or is it just a rumor? What do you mean by number 2, Jay? The game changer. Is there might be a game changer number 2? Is that what you mean? I don't know, but I would. That'd be great. I'd love to see a part 2 of that. I would watch it several times and promote it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about it, but I hope so. I'm gonna look into it. So we talked about training, nutrition, recovery. Then we talked about training and nutrition. Right. Let's look at recovery. Yeah. Well, it's a rumor, but it's a good one. Let's keep our ears open, and that I'm sure it will be very popular. They could take it to the next level. So let's look at recovery. When it comes to recovery, over the last few years, I've had the honor of training 3 different neurologists, and one person is a neuroradiologist. And I've done lots of research on recovery, and I've summarized for myself, my friends, my clients. I recommend 7.5 to 9 hours of sleep a night, 2 hours of REM, 2 hours of deep. That's a really nice target to shoot for and accomplish. Right. So how can you accomplish that? Well, a few different basic things. One is to establish going to bed regular times, start and finish sleeping. So you have your start time and your finish time the same time, ideally, on a day-to-day basis. Ideally, stop eating at least 2 hours before bed, because what happens is that helps to cool the body down when we eat. It does increase our body's heat and metabolism. So before bed, we want to be nice and cool and relaxed and go into that kind of hibernation mode. Eliminate, or as best possible, all blue lights like computers, TVs, phones, 1 to 2 hours before bed as well. And those are some things to consider. And then have a nice, cool, dark room. Let's look at supplementation. When it comes to supplements, there are basically 2 basic categories of supplements: nutritional supplements and enhancement supplements. So what's an example of a nutritional supplement? That'd be like a protein shake. And I love them. I had one right before this video today. And then there are enhancement performance supplements. That's like creatine. That's just one example. But I feel like it enhances performance, so it falls into the enhancement performance category. So 2 basic categories of supplements: nutritional supplements and enhancement performance supplements. Right? Yeah, I hope so too, Jay. I'm with you on that. I would love that and support that big time. Let's finish up with mindset. Now, to get fitter and stronger, I really want to encourage all of us to work on our mindset. So Arnold Schwarzenegger, 7-time Olympian, said that he used to see himself up on the stage winning months before it ever happened, right? And all champion athletes, they see themselves where they want to be. So I encourage you to visualize your physique exactly how you want to do it. I'll share with you this visualization exercise that you may or may not like, but I'll share it with you just in case. So when you lay down to bed at night, consider relaxing from toe to head to toe, and really get a full relaxed physique and be really relaxed. And then visualize in your mindset exactly how you want your body to be. See everything exactly how you want it to be, and just hold that image, look at it, internalize it, see it like you're watching a TV program, see it really clearly in your mind, and then hold that image till you fall asleep. That's one way to, it's a programming mind exercise, but for fitness. And so you just hold that image in your mind till you fall asleep, and it's a way to program your mind. But mindset can really help us stay with it and stay in it in the long run, because on our fitness journey, it's like we're going against resistance. It's like we're in the ocean. If you've ever been in the ocean, you know the tide can kind of carry you along the way like that. So, but when you're in the fitness realm and you're working on your training, you're eating healthy, you're getting your sleep, you're supplementing, you're working on your mindset, you're just cutting through that resistance. You're cutting, and we all feel that resistance. All champions feel that resistance, but they all know that if you just stick with the basics and stick with the fundamentals and exercise and eat right and get your rest and use supplements intelligently and work on that mindset and be consistent day on, day out, week on, week out, month on, month out, full moon after full moon, year after year, and decade after decade, that'll get you through that life of consistency. And what will happen is my mentor, Jim Rohn, would say, at the end of our lives, or we're going to either be filled, we're going to either have regret or we're going to be happy. We're going to be with fitness, and especially with fitness particularly. If you get to the end of your life and you didn't do anything good for your fitness and you got out of shape and you had heart disease and sexual dysfunction and you were unhealthy and you had low quality of life, you're going to have a lot of regret. But if you get to later on in life and you're healthy and you're feeling good and you have good energy day to day and a good quality of life, you're going to be rejoicing. So remember that regret, and this is what Jim Rohn would say, regret weighs tons. Discipline weighs ounces. So the disciplines of the day-to-day training, nutrition, recovery, supplementation, mindset, the disciplines of the day-to-day weighs ounces compared to the regret of neglecting it all and letting it all go. Hope that makes sense. So thanks for being here, Jay. Appreciate you, brother. I know it's late in Norway. I hope you have a blessed night. And I'll be looking out. Yeah, let's hope for a Game Changers 2. God willing, I'll be back Sunday at 1:30. My goal is to be here every Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bring your questions, bring your people. This is to get the whatever I can do to support your fitness journey. This is what it's all about. Appreciate you, Jay. And if I'd ever do anything for you, let me know. Thanks for all the tips on the things you shared about the hierarchy of evidence and the Swiss bar. And appreciate your insights. Look forward to more of your content. And let's all remember that health is wealth. That what difference does it make what earthly possessions we have if we don't have our health? Health is wealth. So I encourage you to stick to the fundamentals, have a clear, specific goal, and then back it up with training, nutrition, recovery, supplementation, and mindset. Be blessed. God willing, I'll see you Sunday. Bye, Jay. Thanks, brother.